Hello everyone. Welcome to my live stream. I hope you've had a wonderful day. I hope you're not too tired after your long day because some of you still choose to have a job, but welcome to my live stream. What do I focus on? I focus on money. I help you understand different types of money flow, how there's economic prosperity, there is generational prosperity that's being built in many different ways, shape, or form. And when you are able to think more objectively, more critically, then you can also capitalize on this prosperity for your own benefit. So welcome. Now my live stream is very informational, very educational. This is not entertainment. So I want to set expectations right now. I am not here to please you. I am not here to appease you. I am here to stimulate your mind and to get you to see things differently. I'm going to repeat. I am not here to please you. I am not here to appease you. I am here to mentally stimulate your mind so that you are able to have generational prosperity and generational wealth. Okay, please keep your feelings, your political, your religious, and your gender preferences out of my live stream because I focus on money, history, current events, business cycles, and economic cycles. I am not here to be your best buddy. Now, my moderator, the reason why I'm late is that my moderator was prepping me for what I was going to talk to you about. So what am I trying to tell you? My moderator plans my talking points. So if you get muted, please consider it a blessing because we just want you to focus a little more. And if you get blocked, you didn't want to be here to begin with, so goodbye. Next. This is education. I'm going to challenge you. I'm going to push you. I love comments that are on topic. If you have comments that are distracting or off topic, you're going to get muted or blocked. I ask questions. When I ask questions, feel free to share your thoughts, whether you know or not, because that is the appropriate time for you to engage, okay? My live stream is different every day. You cannot predict what I'm going to talk about because, hello, I'm here to shock you and rock you. I have 3 segments to my live stream. The first one, I focus on the stock market. The second segment, I do a deep dive. And the third segment, I am now telling business owners how they can cut their marketing and advertising budgets by millions, billions, if not thousands of dollars, because there's a more revolutionary way, a more cost-effective way, and a more human way to relate and attract your ideal customer. So if you're a business owner and you're interested in knowing how you can cut your marketing and advertising budget, restructure your marketing department, and get on this bandwagon as far as money, I'm here. Now, last thing, we are in a recession. When we're in a recession, you have to contract. You have to cut expenses and become more efficient. And marketing and advertising is a drain. So stick around if you want to know what I think. If not, have a good day. Enjoy the rest of your life. Now, one thing I require you to tap the screen. When you tap the screen, that lets me know you understand me, we're vibing, and I may proceed. If you're not in the mood to tap the screen for me, let me tell you what you can do. You can just scroll. I'm difficult, I'm demanding, but I'm on point. And all I'm asking for you to do is engage, show me your appreciation, because this information is my way of sharing myself, my mind, my spirit with all of you. Now, I love money. This is about money. Keep your adjectives to yourself. If you can focus on money, education, and information, and keep your adjectives to yourself, welcome to my live stream. My name is Tara. I am a digital nomad, and I'm here to help people who want to help themselves, and I'm here to help business owners or executives who want to help themselves. Everybody else, you can go watch another live stream, okay? You have the right to learn. You have the right to engage with me on topic, and you have the right to focus. Those are your rights in my live stream. If you don't like it, go live yourself and enjoy. And the trolls can have your ass. All right. Now, Wall Street. Wall Street dips lower. Now, Wall Street's having an interesting time because last Friday, Wall Street ended saying that they were hopeful. What did I tell you about hope? Wall Street ended on Friday being optimistic. They were optimistic. They had hopes. They had dreams that had just come crashing down. They come crashing down. Because why? Because there's policies that are in place that fundamentally don't make sense anymore. Now, originally you were told that these tariffs existed or put in place to balance our trade deficit. Now, I got to call bullshit when I see it, because this has gone beyond balancing our trade deficit in the US. And this has ventured over to something that looks like an alternate version of reality. And as I proceed to go through my first segment of my live stream, I'm going to illustrate to you why I think it doesn't make sense anymore. Okay? It doesn't make sense anymore. How many people are here?
You have 460.
I got 460. Please tap. Come on now. Please tap. Don't make me ask you again. I got 400 people here. Now, there are new tariff announcements. You heard what I said. There are new tariff announcements. Now, last week, Wall Street told you that they were hopeful. They were optimistic about the possibility of President Trump and President Xi agreeing that they may agree to talk. Now, President Trump has come back out and he has announced new tariffs. Does anyone know which industry has just got tapped on the booty with new tariffs? I'm going to ask my question again. What industry has just gotten tapped on? Hollywood? Thank you, Just a Taste. Now, why is this critical? I have to tell you something, and I'm so excited I can't be still. Let me tell you this. During the Great Depression, you know the Great Depression, right? The Great Depression was a very prominent, unfortunate time in U.S. history. Now, during the Great Depression, you would think that all of the industries, most of them, were economically, financially suffering. No, there was one industry in particular that fared extremely well during the Great Depression. Does anyone want to take a guess as to which industry was doing well during the U.S. Great Depression? Feel free to share your thoughts. And I want to tell you, there's a clue. There's a Hollywood. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Hollywood. Now, why is this important? This is important because our president, our beloved president, and food. Yes, Jim, correct. Food, basic staples, the things that we needed, that fared well. I'm trying to tell you that our president has put a tariff on, thank you, Dan, you're correct, put a tariff on an industry that typically would thrive during a recession and or depression. Now, some of you may be curious, why would the entertainment industry be financially and economically thriving during a time where most humans are suffering? Does anyone have an answer to that? Hello, Louis, welcome. Does anyone have an answer as to why during the Great Depression, when there's great poverty, why would the entertainment industry thrive during that time? It's kind of odd, but if you understand human nature, see, comments are being filtered. You guys got to be mental escape. Thank you, Almond. Thank you. Mental escape. Now, let's bring this to the future. You and I both know the U.S. economy, the global economy is contracting. It's showing signs of recession if it's not in recession right now. Our president has just put tariffs in place of 100% on Hollywood. So is he telling you guys that he does not want you to have a mental escape? Tell me your thoughts. He is impacting Hollywood, which is how U.S. citizens like to escape when they are financially struggling. This impacts Hollywood. This impacts Netflix. Is our U.S. president trying to give you no place to mentally, emotionally, and spiritually escape from your financial struggles? I need you to sit with that. Why would Hollywood entertainment really need to be touched by tariffs? By 100%. These tariffs have nothing to do with China. Listen to me. Tariffs are being put in place because of a trade deficit. And a good portion of them was because of our trade relations with China. What does this 100% tariff on the entertainment industry have anything to do with China? Think it through. Come on now. Come on. Because some of you are like, no. Some of you are like, yeah. Some of you are like, yeah. I'm telling you what these actions mean. 100% tariffs have just been placed on the entertainment industry. How does that make sense? Some of y'all like to Netflix for dates. Some of you are not going to be able to have Netflix dates. Some of you are going to have your Netflix dates messed up because there's 100% tariffs on the entertainment industry, on things that are produced outside the U.S. How does this make sense? This has nothing to do with China. China says some of Hollywood movies don't even make it into China. So why is the entertainment industry being slapped with tariffs? How does that benefit on a maximum level the trade deficit that the U.S. economy is going, or the trade deficit that the U.S. economy has? Feel free to share your thoughts because it doesn't make sense to me. And when something doesn't make sense to me, that tells me that the intentions that were put out there about the trade deficit is not fully true. I'm going to repeat. We were told that we have Liberation Day and tariffs were being spread around to benefit the trade deficit of the U.S. You guys said, okay, that makes sense. Manufacturing, technology. You just got tariffs placed on the entertainment industry, which you and I both know it's stress relief. It is stress relief for people who live in the United States and other countries of the world. He just placed tariffs on that. Now, about 2 to 3 weeks ago, analysts were telling you that Netflix was a safe haven. Analysts and institutional investors were telling all of you to put your money into Netflix because Netflix was a safe haven from the tech industry and from the US dollar. So those of you who went and invested your money in Netflix, how does that feel right now? You see, you're looking for a safe haven, and let me tell you some information. The safe haven is you having your own business, but just not a normal business. You need a global digital business. You see, if you have a global digital business, you can kind of circumvent what is happening. You understand? You can kind of avoid some of this that's happening. But if you have a traditional, physical, Dusty! Oh my gosh, Dusty, thank you. If you have a traditional business, typical business, you are being pushed into a corner. You're being pushed into a corner. Thank you, Dusty. You must understand that means your prosperity is being squished. Now, some of you are in denial as far as what's happening. You refuse to connect the dots. Thank you, Justin. You're refusing to connect the dot. Oh, you sent me pho. I'm in Vietnam. Thank you. You're refusing to connect the dots. You have to read the actions that are happening in front of your face. Dow has gone down 0.24%. S&P 500 is going down. NASDAQ is going down. There are no dots to connect. For you, there's probably no dots to connect because you got to have some cells up here to connect the dots. First, you got to have a pencil. Okay, then you have to be able to use that pencil. Write that down, dots to connect. First, you have to be able to use that pencil, and then you got to have some cells up here in your brain that actually work to connect the dots. Hello and goodbye. Guys, if you want to troll a woman, you got to troll somebody who actually cares. I want to repeat, you can't embarrass me. You can't do anything with me. So if you're trolling me, you're going to fail. You understand? You want to troll and be successful. You're trolling a woman who does not give a flying about what you say, what you do, or what you think. This is my life. Find another one. I'm a strong woman with thick skin. Are we back on topic? Now, and pre-market trading, okay? Pre-market trading, futures are down. Netflix is down about 5%. Salute. Salute. Pre-market trading on Monday. Netflix is down about over 4%. Amazon is down 1.5%. Walt Disney's down. Warner Brothers are down. Donald Trump has announced he has no plans of having talks with President Xi this week. about trade policies. He has no plans. So what you're witnessing is U.S. firms falling, free falling. Their stock price is falling. Their market cap is falling. And our president has no urgency to start having conversations. He has no urgency. You should find that worrisome. Because the president of the United States, we elected him to improve our economy. He doesn't have a sense of urgency. Let me tell you what him and his family, what they're doing. U.S. companies are being penalized with tariffs. Domestic U.S. companies are being penalized with tariffs, meaning if you don't produce in the U.S., you're going to get slapped with tariffs. On the other hand, Trump and family are opening up beachside resorts in Qatar. Just opened up a new billion-dollar condo complex in Dubai. So U.S. companies are being slapped with tariffs and being restricted on importing and exporting. They're being penalized for not being solely in the U.S. And Trump family are opening up properties overseas. What do you think about that? Tap that screen. How many people are here?
You have 380.
I got 380 people. Tap that screen. I want you to tell me what you think about that. U.S. companies that are responsible for our stock market, our market cap, our GDP, are being thwarted and penalized by tariffs that were originally because of the trade deficit and then because of China. Now tariffs are being slapped on industries that have nothing to do with this. How does this make sense? He is opening up real estate properties in the Middle East and U.S. companies are being slapped. Tell me how this makes sense. You got to read the proof. You got to read the proof. Jealous much? I don't have to be jealous because I'm smart. When you're smart, you don't have to be jealous. When you're a troll and you're scared, then you're jealous. I don't need to be jealous. I'm smart. You understand? You got to understand the game. You are watching the U.S. economy contract. It's not contracting for a lack of customers. It's not contracting because there is economic prosperity. There's economic prosperity. Bye-bye. No, they don't. You're correct. I'm not smart. Goodbye. Goodbye. Write down smart. Keep track of the words. Don't worry, guys. I'm going to get you. I'm going to block you. Look at it. U.S. companies are being hit with tariffs and their stock value is dropping. Yet, he's able to open up properties outside the U.S. Why are U.S. firms being penalized while he is opening up properties overseas? Now, someone says real estate. So are you telling me there is some favoritism to businesses that are in real estate? The U.S. economy is based upon more than just real estate. Real estate is not going to pull the U.S. economy out of an economic recession or depression. I'm sorry, I got to say it. And if you look at real estate, what's happening in the U.S., if real estate was the engine that was going to fuel our prosperity, why is he not opening up more properties in the U.S.? Why are properties being opened in other countries? I'm going to repeat what I said. If we are U.S. based, USA, why are they not opening up more hotels, condos here in the United States if other companies are being expected to operate in the U.S.? What's the answer to that question? Why? Why is he allowed to go overseas, yet NVIDIA needs an export license for certain chips? Why Tesla is being impacted taxes? You're probably right, good boy. Listen, guys, I can only share the information with you. What you choose to do with it, it's on you. He's global. I get it. NVIDIA's global. Netflix global. Hollywood's global. You got a good point. Now, here's my point. Netflix is global, yes? Hollywood is global. Walt Disney is global. Why is he global and they are getting hit with tariffs? Come on, guys. If you gonna bring it, you got to bring it. He's global. Netflix is global. Netflix stock just dropped over 4%. Netflix is global. How are you messing with Netflix revenue? How are you messing with Amazon's revenue? How are you messing with Walt Disney? Walt Disney? Come on now. How are you going to mess with Mickey Mouse? What does Mickey Mouse have to do with the trade deficit? You can laugh. What does Mickey Mouse have to do with the trade deficit? What does Mickey Mouse have to do with it? Do I get an answer? Do I get an answer? No, that's my point. Yeah, he's global. Is he the only one that gets to be global? Because let me tell you a unique factor. With global trade, okay, with global trade, let me tell you what global trade does. Global trade actually makes things more expansive. Let me tell you what it means. There's something called a butterfly effect, a multiplier effect. When $1 is put into an economy, it actually magnifies, it multiplies to a lot more money as it moves through the economy. So when you have a global economy, $1 actually gets multiplied beyond what it could be domestically when you have global free trade. So with these tariffs, it's actually stunting, minimizing the multiplier effect of $1 being invested. If you understand what I'm saying, please tap that screen. I am telling you, bold face, loud and direct, these tariffs are diminishing the economic prosperity that companies and countries would benefit from because it is diminishing returns. So the full impact of having a global economy, the U.S. economy is going to be a reflection of the U.S. The U.S. has about 300 million people. The world has 8 billion people. The U.S. economy has 300 million people. The world has 8 billion people. Do you see the amount? Can you extrapolate what these tariffs are going to do to the market cap, the net profits of these businesses? He is restricting their access to customers, which means the U.S. economy is going to cool off and contract more. If you understand what I'm saying, please show me. This is a big deal. This is a big deal. Now, he's global. He has a property in Qatar. Qatar, it's a wonderful place. It's a wonderful place. Money's flowing. Dubai, wonderful place. Wonderful place. Money's flowing. Let me tell you where money's not flowing. U.S. companies are being tapped on the ass with tariffs, which means their reach is stunted. Their access to customers are stunted. Their competitiveness is stunted, and their net profit is being crushed. Now, just because you can't see it right now doesn't mean that it's not happening. Now, I don't know why Netflix, Walt Disney, Nvidia, Tesla, IBM, I don't know what, Boeing, I don't know why they're not saying anything. What happened to these CEOs? Have they lost their spine? These CEOs are sitting there taking it as their company is being destroyed within months or weeks. What are they saying? Where is their spine? These CEOs, these boards who know the value that they bring to the world economy and the U.S. economy, they're not doing anything. They're taking it. And when they shrink, you're impacted. Your jobs are impacted. Your consumer confidence is impacted. What are these CEOs doing? Nvidia, can't hear anything. Tesla went ghost. Netflix, I don't know. Walt Disney, I don't know. IBM, what's happening? Google, Alphabet, Meta, Apple, what are they doing? They're asleep. And if they're not asleep, I don't know what they're doing. You're sitting by, you funded this campaign, this man's campaign, you helped fund the campaigns, and what I see is you're getting the opposite. So either I'm missing something, our CEO has they must be ghosts. They must be ghosts. They have no problem getting up, making an announcement that they're laying off thousands of people. These CEOs have no problem standing up, telling the world that they're going to lay off thousands of people worldwide. Worldwide. Amazon too. Now all of a sudden, they have nothing to say. Nothing to say. They easily open their mouth to lay you off. Huh? They have nothing to say. They have nothing to say. Hollywood, come on now. So, what am I saying? President Trump has no interest this week in talking with President Xi. I don't know when it's going to happen because he actually said that he was optimistic. He was optimistic that talks were going to happen. He also told Wall Street that he saw that he foretold that tariffs would be decreasing. Not happening. So Wall Street, if you are falling for this, you have to realize you're being played. Wall Street, I'm talking to you. How many weeks do you have to be led around with a carrot telling you talks may happen, tariffs may decrease? I am hopeful that we'll reach an agreement. Agreements are being reached in Dubai. Agreements are being reached in Qatar. Our deal maker, he's making deals, but he can't seem to make a deal with China. Explain that one to me. The deal maker, the OG of making deals, cannot find himself to sit down to make a deal with China. So who's playing chicken? Are we playing chicken? Are we playing chicken with the U.S. economy? That's the question. Is the U.S. economy being used to play chicken? Here's the consequences for China and the U.S. The longer that China and the U.S. refuses to come to an understanding, there's higher inflation, there's reduced foreign and domestic investment. The longer that this BS goes on between China and the U.S., you're going to deal with higher inflation, and you are going to witness investment going someplace else, i.e. Qatar, i.e. Dubai. No real investor wants to deal with this BS. About 2 months ago, Saudi Arabia pledged a $1 trillion investment in the U.S. over 4 years. Okay, $1 trillion investment over 4 years. If I was Saudi Arabia, if you were Saudi Arabia, would you put your money in the U.S.? This is a real question. Saudi Arabia is going to pledge $1 trillion over 4 years in the U.S. economy. If you were Saudi Arabia, does it still make sense for you to invest $1 trillion in the U.S. when you know the U.S. has tariffs in place, a slow GDP, and penalizing its own domestic firms? Would you still invest? No. No. Yes? I don't know about you, HM. I don't know about you. You see, Saudi Arabia is expecting an ROI that is a reflection of the U.S. involving itself in the global economy. I'm going to repeat. Saudi Arabia investing $1 trillion in the U.S. economy. It is expecting the U.S. economy to operate on a global scale with free trade. If the U.S. is purposely stunting its companies from engaging with other countries, that means the ROI that Saudi Arabia has calculated from its $1 trillion investment is not going to be there. And if I was Saudi Arabia, there are other places to put that money that are easier, with less conflict, and people are focused on economic policies that are going to bring prosperity, not strife or division, okay? Not division. Now, I'm getting ready to move over to the second part of my live stream. The only thing I want you guys to take from this first part, the only thing I want you to take is this. What you see is happening. What you see happening is the truth. Stop focusing on what's being said and start looking at the decisions and actions of the parties involved. I'm going to repeat this because some of you like to focus on words and actions. Thank you, Zach. Actions speak louder than words. President Trump is saying one thing out of his mouth and he is doing something else with his actions. And what I do is I focus on actions, not words. Next, Wall Street. How many times are you going to allow yourself to be duped in regards to what is happening in the economy before you actually start making moves and actions to safeguard capitalism? Next, CEOs. CEOs of America, you know better. You know better. If you go back in history and look at your profits, your net profits, you focus on your net profits, your income statements, your balance sheet. Look at them. Look at how your profits have increased over history. There is a direct correlation to the U.S. economy becoming more global. If you do not have an interest in your quarterly profits and your stock price decreasing, you must start advocating for your right for free trade in the United States of America, or your net profits, your income statements is going to reflect what it used to look like in the past. And that's real talk. If you keep doing this and allowing this to happen like you are sitting ducks, you will actually become a sitting duck. And if you don't know what happens to sitting ducks, you figure it out. I'm done with that. We have to take responsibility. Individuals, CEOs, companies, we have to take responsibility for our economic prosperity. Yeah, I'm talking to CEOs too. I'm talking to business owners. We have to get it together. If you have any interest in democracy, capitalism, and free trade, or money, you better get it in gear. Thank you, Kenny. You better get it in gear really soon, because it's going to come to a point of no return. If this goes too far for too long, we're going to hit a point of no return, and then we're going to have to go through a cycle of economic BS to come back on track when it's avoidable. Now, I'm moving over to Malaysia. I'm moving over to Malaysia. This is the second part of my live stream. I am talking about Malaysia. Now, Malaysia is planning to build a cargo rail link to Bangkok to boost trade. All right. Yes, I've shifted gears. I am done with the United States. I don't want to talk about it anymore. I have moved over to Malaysia and Thailand. They are in the process of building a cargo rail link to one another. Now, I think this is a fabulous thing. It's fabulous because why is this fabulous? This is fabulous because I think last week I was talking about how Asia and the Middle East is on the precipice of something huge. Because of the economic fights that China and the US is having, it's actually opening a pathway for parts of Asia and the Middle East to actually rise to their true glory and economic power. I also said last week that Asia, they need to stop getting distracted by regional sabotage. I'm going to repeat this. If you missed that live stream, shame on you. You should have been watching me. But back on topic. I was telling Asia that it is critical for them not to get distracted by some regional sabotage activities that will take them off their goals. Now, what is their goal? Their goal is economic prosperity. Their goal is to enrich their country and their citizens to become a first world country. But there is a long pattern. Thank you, Didi. There is a long pattern of as soon as these countries like Vietnam and the Philippines and Malaysia, they start getting the momentum, some bullshit happens. What kind of bullshit? Aggression, things that could be misconstrued as being conquered. And I said in my live stream, you have to focus. There is an opportunity, a vacuum of opportunity that's being created by the US, which is a superpower, and China, which is a superpower. Their lack of business agreement, to sit down and have a business agreement, is going to create an opportunity for these beautiful, rich, culturally rich nations to get ahead. Normally, they're trailing behind. And for some reason, they're in the shadows of some of these other countries. But now, because these countries cannot get it together, they can actually leap ahead. Why? Because you have digital technologies. Asia is a wonderful place to set up data centers and to set up renewable energy hubs for AI that makes it cheaper and affordable to use AI to basically catapult your economy. But if you have a country like Vietnam that has to redirect its interests to watching its seas instead of focusing on its nuclear energy and focusing on stabilizing its energy sources to get more business, do you understand how a country like Vietnam or Thailand gets stunted? You have countries, individuals who come, who antagonize you, who takes you off your goals, who takes you off your focus, and then you miss your window of opportunity for riches, for prosperity, for power and influence. So when I'm telling you now that Malaysia is in the plans, in the works of building a cargo rail link to Bangkok to boost trade, this is awesome. You want to know why? Because they're cutting out the drama. Typically, Malaysia and Thailand would have to do trade by road or by water. If they do it by water, what seas, what ocean do they have to go through? For Malaysia and Thailand to do trade through the ocean, what water do they have to go through? Come on now, you can cheat. You can cheat. Pull out a map. What part of the ocean would they have to go through? By building this railway, they actually get to avoid potential problems, potential economic issues. What waters does Malaysia have to go through to get to Thailand? If they were to do it by sea, do it by ocean. Does anyone know? What is the name of the ocean?
South China Sea.
Do you know which sea it is? Bath water. Pete. Goodbye, Pete. You didn't want to be here, my friend. Goodbye. Does anyone know which sea? Pete is going bye-bye. Yes. No, it's the South Sea. Which sea? The Red Sea. No, it's mind called trolling. You should just block that person on principle. The fact that you have troll in your username means you got to go. Sorry, but not sorry. It's the South China Sea. It's the South China Sea. Why am I telling you this? Because I think a day or two ago, I told you there is a level of microaggressions that's happening in waters in Asia. Philippines is having problems. Vietnam was outraged. So the fact that Malaysia and Thailand are building a cargo rail link, it means they get to avoid going through the South China Sea, and they get to do business directly with each other without encountering any problems in the sea. Now, this is huge. This is huge because let me tell you why this is huge. Typically, when countries do business, they think that you have to use the US dollar. You have to use certain passage wage. You have to go through certain seas. Countries are now realizing if you cut out the headache, and you pivot just a little bit, you can still be on your business without getting pulled into drama. Listen to me. Right now in Asia and the seas, there's some aggression happening. Typically, that would stunt the ability of these countries to thrive at critical times. Malaysia and Thailand have come up with an innovative idea to minimize risk, exposure, and to get their goods to one another by investing in a rail link that gives them direct access without having to encounter, without having to encounter any drama. This is what I'm talking about. You have a country like Japan, I talked about over the last couple of days. Even Japan is divesting itself from Asia and going to other parts of the world because they're realizing the world can still do business, even though two superpowers are refusing to engage. I'm going to repeat. The U.S. seems to think that the rest of the world cannot do business without them. China is a great country who has a lot of power, influence, intellectual property, But they seem to think that the rest of the world cannot do business with each other without the two of them. So when I'm talking to you about Malaysia and Thailand, they are another example of two countries cutting out the BS, cutting out the middleman, and they're stepping into their own light instead of being in the shadows of these superpowers. Does that make sense what I'm saying? How many people are here? I got 300 people here. Tap, 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 tap. Tap, 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 tap. So why is this important? This is important for the future of the rest of the world. If the U.S. economy, if the U.S. and China are not ready or willing to play game in global free trade, I am telling the rest of the world, you guys can still have business, prosperity, and growth without fully relying on the US or relying on China. I'm going to let you sit on that. If the rest of the world just cut out the drama that's going on between the US and China and focus on doing business with each other, you would be surprised at how much wealth that you can generate with each other. And the reason why I can say this is that the US is stunting itself. The U.S. is actually discouraging domestic and foreign investment by its policies. I'm going to repeat. The U.S. is discouraging investment, which means that money is going to go someplace else. If a country can't get what it wants, or an investor can't get what it wants from China or the U.S., they're going to find alternative sources and countries to invest their money, which is why Japan is investing in Nigeria, which is why Qatar is investing in Indonesia, which is why Malaysia and Thailand are investing in these railways. The world is still moving. Money is still flowing, even though the US and China are not getting it together. They're going to miss out on a critical economic boom. Now, this direct rail cargo service between Kuala Lumpur and Bangkok, it goes from Kuala Lumpur into Bangkok. It's going to boost bilateral regional trade. It's going to boost tourism, and it's going to boost services. Malaysia is planning to extend. Malaysia right now has a direct rail line to China. Malaysia is going to create like a detour, like a junction. It's going to take the rail line that's between
East Coast Malaysia, West Coast Malaysia.
So East Coast Malaysia, West Coast Malaysia, what?
Railway that connects East Coast and West Coast Malaysia connects to Thailand.
Okay, so they're going to take East Coast Malaysia and West Coast Malaysia and connect it to Thailand. It's going to allow them to prosper. Now, this railway partially already exists between Malaysia and China. Malaysia is basically going to build upon what already exists and have a rail line go directly to Thailand. That is a brilliant strategic move. It's a brilliant strategic move. And let me tell you how it benefits. It's going to benefit both of those countries because Malaysia wants to extend it by 2016. I'm going to repeat. By 2026, Malaysia wants to extend it. So that's what? Less than 2 years? Less than 2 years, Malaysia is going to have this extension of its cargo rail line up. It's going to basically give railroad operators 3 months to get their shit together. Now, here's how it benefits Malaysia and Thailand. It's mostly to stop moving goods through trucking, and it's going to be better cost efficient. It's going to increase the timeliness to get their goods to one another. It's going to lower emissions. It's going to be more reliable schedules, and it's going to streamline customs. It's going to have direct routes, and it's going to bypass traffic. Countries that are moving trade, basically what I'm trying to tell you this, countries do not have to rely on the US and or China to do business. This is a phenomenal mental shift. I'm going to repeat. Typically what happens is when you have 2-3 powerhouses, they make the rules of the game. And because of the actions or lack of actions by China and the US, These countries are now able to define their own rules of trade, free trade, global trade, without being in the shadows of these great superpowers. This is called a come up. Okay? This is like the runner-up now being able to move to first place because the countries are stunting themselves. This is a beautiful, beautiful thing to me because guess what? You don't have to rely. You don't have to be reliant on the U.S. to thrive. If the U.S. is stunting itself naturally, the U.S. is putting policies in place that's going to take a few generations for you to see any possible benefit. Why would you suffer? The rest of the world does not have to economically suffer because the U.S. decides all of a sudden one fine morning that they're going to put tariffs on the entertainment industry, which is an industry that is stress relief and it generates revenue for the U.S. economy. And as far as China, look, they're both suffering inflation. Inflation means higher costs. It means higher costs. You choose what you want to do and how you want to do it. Now, I'm getting ready to move over to the second part or the third part of my live stream. What I want you guys to remember is this. Money doesn't stop. Money doesn't disappear. Money is always moving. So while you're sitting in the U.S. and you're dealing with higher inflation, your consumer confidence is low, your prospects for jobs are low, guess what? Other parts of the world are thriving. I want to emphasize that. You're choosing to sit in a state of complacency. I'm telling you, the rest of the world, other parts of the world are thriving. You have a choice on how you want to have money flow in your life. When money is flowing in one direction and you are in the opposite direction of that money flow, you have basically decreased the odds of prosperity finding you at this moment in time. You have to go where there is ease of trade, ease of money flow, and people are actually having conversations and making business deals. And right now, if you look at what's happening, pulling tariffs out of a magician's hat is not a sign of any relief happening soon. We have moved from the first quarter to the second quarter of 2025. And by Q3 and Q4, you're going to fully start seeing the effects of these 100% tariffs, 200% tariffs, 3,500% tariffs. You're going to see the effects. Now, you have a runway. You have a runway to start shifting your financial interests. Employment is not going to safeguard you. I say this time and time again. You need to be a business owner that has a business that's in alignment with digital technologies. Some of you refuse to see what I'm talking about. And at that, I'm going to tell you, I can't help you. But for anyone else, if you understand what I'm saying, money is flowing outside the United States. People are earning a lot of money. So if you're choosing to subject yourself financially to economic prospects that have to do with manufacturing jobs, driving Uber or Lyft, you must understand what you are signing yourself up for. I'm going to leave it at that. Now, third portion of my live stream, I am talking to business owners. I am talking to executives. I'm talking to people who control budgets. When you are in a very growing economy, global economy, domestic economy, that is a perfect time to have a lot of overhead. You have a lot more money to play with. You have a lot more leeway in how money is being wasted or spent. But when you are dealing with an economy that is uncertain, that is not fully stable, and your revenues are being intentionally targeted, you have to step up your game. Now, typically what happens with businesses is the first thing you think is cut employees. That is a one-dimensional type of thought, okay? You have Martin Dean. Have you blocked Martin Dean? Give me a second. Have you blocked Martin Dean? Thank you. Martin, you're being distracting. All right, you got to go. Now back on topic. You typically think of cutting off, laying off people, but that doesn't deal with inefficiencies that are basically in your numbers. You do not have to spend the quantity of money that you normally spend on marketing and advertising when you could be leveraging digital technologies that have a more personal effect. What am I talking to you about? You are typically used to having large marketing and advertising budgets. You're used to spending money on outside influencers and marketing and advertising agencies. Don't you realize the world has changed? Don't you realize how we engage, how we relate, how we interact has changed? So if you're still spending money on radio ads and commercials, I'm telling you, you are basically pouring money down the drain when you can have a more personal, effective, and radical approach to your marketing and advertising. And when you have an innovative, out-of-the-box approach to marketing and advertising, that means those billions, those millions, those hundreds of thousands of dollars that you're allocating to marketing goes to your bottom line. Are you with me? This is how you get profits during a recession. You have to look at the facts and figures, and you have to have someone who's able to look at what's happening as far as technology and innovation and be able to leverage it. The problem is that you think this used to work, this is always going to work. This is how it's used to be done or always been done. No. You're in a new age. You're in a new time. You have a business that exists at a time where you have a president who is purposefully, willfully, intentfully putting tariffs that are impacting your revenue. So you have to get smart. You have to get lean, and you have to get strategic on where you find that money. Because if you can't get the money through sales revenue, I'm telling you, you can find the profits you need on some of the ways that you're spending money without losing momentum as far as promoting your product and or service. Now, if you want to know more about what I'm talking about, guess what you're going to have to do? You're going to have to go to my profile. You're going to have to go to my website, and you're going to have to choose a program. The Digital Mastery Program. And with that Digital Mastery Program, that program is not for you. That program is for your employee. You are going to choose 1 to 3 employees that they're going to get masterful at a particular set of skill sets. And those skill sets are what you're going to use to scale your marketing and advertising campaign while you cut your budget at the same time, without you losing the money and the momentum you have with your goods or services. I'm going to repeat what I said because some of you are quiet and I need you to tap the screen. I'm telling you, you do not have to spend billions, millions of dollars, hundreds of thousands of dollars on marketing and advertising. I'm telling you, you don't have to spend on creative agencies. I'm telling you, there's a different way for you to promote your product and or good or service and still have worldwide reach that is right in front of your face, that is different. But if you want to know my revolutionary thoughts on how to do it, you got to go to my profile, go to my website, choose the Digital Mastery Program, and then I will tell you specifically what to do and how to do it so you can start scaling back your marketing and advertising costs and your department. You can restructure to become a lean machine so you can weather the economic storm that's going to be happening for the foreseeable future. You add profits to your bottom line, and you're able to appeal to different types of ideal customers. I'm going to repeat what I just said. There is a way for you to appeal to different types of customers with the same product or service that you have. Typically, when you have a brand, you have a certain one type of ideal customer. You can do that differently and have multiple ideal customers if you connect with me. I'm telling you, you don't need one type of face. Stay-at-home mom, working dad, athlete. You can have many different faces for one brand to attract multiple ideal customers, cut your marketing and advertising budget, and leverage digital technologies to maximize your revenue during a recession so that you can weather this economic storm and you can have more profits and you are in alignment. You are in alignment with modern day today. My name is Tara. I am a digital nomad. I am an out-of-the-box thinker. And if you've enjoyed my live stream, then you must trust and believe I got some insights for you that I'm willing to share. But guess what? Time is money and money is time. Go to my profile, check out my website, choose a program, then we go from there. If not, keep spending that money, keep wasting those profits, and keep wondering why you're inefficient, why you're not competitive, and why you're having a hard time struggling during this global recession. Anybody else? You know how to hit me up. Very simple. Thank you for your hearts. Thank you for your love. I appreciate it. Everybody else, if you want a business, you want to know how to start a business step-by-step, beginner-friendly, you go to my website too. Very simple. Business people, ignore the done-for-you business. Business people, ignore the automated system. I'm talking about knowledge for you. Everyone else who wants a digital business, it's there. You can set yourself up, change your life, and start earning six-figure income by learning a step-by-step blueprint. I got something for everyone. I got something for everyone worldwide. Try me. Thank you for your time. I will be back again tomorrow. I am getting ready to go live on my next account. So anyone who wants to hear about Oman on my next live stream, which is happening in about 17 minutes, I am going to be talking about Oman. So if you want to continue this intellectual journey with me, my next account is Live, Love, Earn. I'm repeating. I'm going live again in about 17 minutes on my second account. I'm going to be talking about Oman. Yes, Oman. That's a beautiful, rich country. If you want to hear more about Oman and you want to contemplate more on what I've said, my other account is Live, Love, Earn. Everybody else, thank you. And trolls, I'm getting ready to block some other keywords. Have a lovely and/or miserable day. You choose. Take care. Bye-bye.